I just can see in my own past, and also sometimes when I talk with other people, we are often very resistant to bring that vulnerability. But I can see that some of the most beautiful experiences that I've had, and also some of the things that have given me the most growth or inspiration, has been when I have had the courage to reach out to people and ask for what I want, and just be curious and be a student, because who doesn't also like to be the source of inspiration for someone else and to share our experience and wisdom.
Hello and welcome once again to Allow Yourself podcast. Here we'll explore what it means to give permission to yourself to live more freely, more authentic, and more in tune with who really. And today's guest is Simon Skipper, a Copenhagen based visual storyteller and professional photographer known for capturing raw, honest moments in adventure, street sports, nature, and travel. With a background in photojournalism, coaching, and therapy, Simon's work goes beyond the surface, inviting people, especially youth, to explore the world and themselves in deeper, more meaningful ways. So let's welcome this incredible, talented Simon Skipper to the Allow Yourself podcast. So, hello, Simon. I don't know
Hey,
Simon
Beatriz.
in Spanish, Simon in English. I don't know how you pronounce it. So,
I will respond to them all. Also, I used to live in Costa Rica, so Simon is also very good. It gives me fond memories. And thank you for the wonderful introduction. Good to see you again.
good to see you. So, you know that allow yourself is has a lot of meanings, right? But to give permission to yourself. But what does it mean to give permission to yourself according to you?
Yeah, thank you. That's a profound question. Mm, and also somehow kind of simple, but for me, allowing myself to be who I really am is finding the courage and the vulnerability to really tune into my essence, to listen to the whispers of my heart, my soul, mm, and bring that to the world, even if I don't know how, or even if it goes against opinions or whatever is popular at the moment, and even if it feels very dangerous. That is really allowing myself to bring my medicine to the world, because no matter who you are, there's only one of you, and there's only one of me, and there's only one Beatrice. So the more we find that essence, I believe the more
Beautiful.
magical our life is going to be, and we're going to start to attract opportunities and be like a magnet.
Beautiful is so hard and it's so easy, right? It's so it's so cliche, let's say, to be yourself, but it's so hard to allow yourself to be us because we usually think that the limitations are out there, that the world is putting us all the limits that we have. But really, we are what we allow ourselves to be. We were born pure essence at our core, and as we grow up, we have been putting layers over layers over layers to fit in, to belong, to be loved, to feel accepted and acknowledged. So how do we forget that small part? So if we hold ourselves back from what the world puts on us, what can it be a belief that you had to unlearn in order to step to be you?
Yeah. Um, there are several that I could go into, but one belief, the strongest one that comes to me, that I had to unlearn, and I'm still reminding myself sometimes that it's not a a fact, that it's not the truth, is that it's okay to trigger other people. It's okay to not be liked by everyone, and it's okay to, yeah, to, you know, have someone, um to it's okay to shine my light and stand in my power, no matter if someone can't handle it or will get upset or, triggered. That's okay.
It's it's so important because we are so trained, so domesticated, some uh, taught to be to please others, to be all the time in harmony, because not to agree it means fight, and it's not necessarily that, because we really uh, have to have our own opinions, and we can see the same facts from different points of view. So it's to, okay, this is my opinion. As I tell my husband, usually, this is my story and I'm sticking to it. Even if your story is different, but we're seeing exactly the same, and we can um, be in discomfort, let's say. It's like, if we don't agree, if we don't be aligned with what the world is expecting from us, it's like we are wrong, like we are a bad person, and we are not worth that. It's the main thing. It's the be afraid to be excluded, I think, that we are
Mhm.
introduced to, that you have to agree to fit in order to belong, in order to be accepted, in order to be loved. But not true.
No, it's not, and it's so powerful also for everybody listening or watching to really explore this in your own life. Where is a place where I'm holding back my truth because I'm afraid people won't like it? And it's so deeply wired into our brain, right? That, oh, we don't want to be excluded, we don't want to be unpopular. It's so deep. There are so many thousands of years, and programming from our ancestors back from the times where it was crucial for our survival to fit in. But now in the modern world, it's really not. And there is also a beautiful quote. I don't know who came up with it, but if it goes like, if you wouldn't take advice from somebody, also don't take their critique. And most people where I see that I in the past have been struggling, if they disagreed with me or were kind of humiliating in their way of approaching my truth, it's actually people where it's not really my people anyway. So I might as well just say, well, if you don't like my way of playing the music, then go somewhere else, play with someone else. I never try to convince anyone to believe what I believe, so I don't want them to do the same.
Yeah, it's like, take what you like and throw away what you don't like. This is me, but it's so hard because the external pressure, it's pretty big, and sometimes you don't want to feel alone either. So, what do you do when the pressure is that big to come back to your core?
That's important to practice that habit, because we are in these times of so much transformation, and as we see, so many inhumane things are happening in the world right now, with wars and a lot of things are shifting, and a lot of the old institutions and systems are really showing that they are outdated. So that also really increases the importance for each of us to cultivate authority from inside. And that's not where we come from. That's not what we come from, most of us anyway, that, from our parents and their parents. You would probably just listen to the teacher, listen to the politician, listen to the doctor. And I'm not saying to not listen to these people, but always listen mostly to yourself. And then the way that I listen to myself is by, first I quiet my surroundings. So if I
Mm.
have a very busy time or there is a lot of stuff going on, it really comes down to working with the nervous system and working with the body. I mean, also everybody listening, you probably know that if you're really busy, it feels like, oh, all the attention goes up and it goes to my head and all these thoughts, and maybe you can't sleep. And anyway, I notice that myself if I'm too busy or there's too much going on. Mm. So what I do, it can be so simple. It can be like I'm doing right now. I'm sitting in nature and the sun is shining, and it doesn't even matter if it's sunny, but just, go to nature, take off your shoes. It can even be a park wherever you live. I mean, just really, and put down your phone, just notice your breathing, be in nature. If you have a pet, you can spend time with a pet, just really getting back to our nervous system and balancing it and getting into the body and you know working with the inner child, working with it. Doesn't have to be very complicated. It can just be like, okay, my brain got hijacked by all the noise because again my nervous system is constantly wired to look for danger, but almost always the danger is not a real danger. So to really be like, wow, okay, I need to put gas on my car before I drive any further. So take the time to spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or take one day off. I mean, do some
Oh, but it's
meditation, breath
so
work.
so punished to do that in today's world is to take a pause, to go to silent and to silence, to take a pause. It's like, oh, you are not going to achieve what you need to achieve. You're not going. It's how come you're taking your pause? You're a lazy person. How come you're resting? How come? Yeah, you see, is it's out there, the noise, and we can do these two things, right? To keep in the noise, doing, and not becoming only doing, and not leaving time for ourselves. Because if we don't pause really, we cannot, I call it flip the mirror. No? So you're all the time looking out, doing, in order for to quiet the inner voice that is the one that is screaming to you, please pause, I'm here. It's your conscious, your soul that wants to talk to you, and you are not paying attention. So this I love it. Your silence, you're coming back to your nervous system as easy as breathe, no? But coming to nature and walking barefoot and connecting, and we are discharging. We're it's even in English is very nice, the word, because it's grounding. Really is discharging, no? In aterrizar, it's to connect with the soil, right? With the earth, and take out of that high frequency energy that we have inside in order to relax, pause, and be able to not only to think, and to disconnect the switch of the reptile, the wiring that you were talking about, but to connect to our core, to listen the whisper that we have inside, that is connecting me with myself. So
Exactly.
it's beautiful. So, can you remember a time in your life when there was so noisy that you really allow yourself to do something that went against what the others thought about you and brought you to yourself?
Yeah, I think this is also a practice that comes back regularly because, like you're saying, the world or the matrix or whatever we want to call it, the old way of thinking or doing things wants us to believe like, oh, just keep pushing, and then one day you might retire and you might have 5 or 10 years where you can relax. But that's not that's not true to me at all. I mean, also now we're speaking about nature a lot, that nothing in nature is really in a hurry. It's there's no need to rush or force anything. And when it comes to a time in my life that where I really just had to go within and listen, um, I remember for about 4 years ago when I went through a divorce, and it was very hard. It was very painful, and I know that everyone listening that has gone through it, it's very, very tough, because it's like breaking away. It's like losing an arm or a leg, or like losing a person that is so close. And I really just had to let go of a big part of my identity, and I was very scared of it. And I even spent some months trying to get back to. It's not like I was. Well, I was hoping that somehow that things were gonna change, so me and my ex-wife could be back together. And like, I wasn't really remembering that something new is always gonna open when something is closing. And I think it's also very human. But what I had to do was, what like coming back to this voice within, was really just allow myself to break, you know, like to for my heart to break. And it's maybe a little bit like if you break a bone or something, that actually it comes back stronger when you've done. When I did all the healing, I realized that it made me so much stronger, and it taught me so much about love. And ultimately everything landed very on very good terms with me and my ex-wife. It took a lot of conscious effort, but I really just had to, you know, take that part of me that wanted to go back to how things were, or wanted to keep running away from feeling the feelings, to just sit down and be like, okay, I don't know what will happen, but I have to just let go and see however long it will take for me to grieve. And I will have to allow a lot of people to help me and support me. And that that moment just changed everything.
It's really interesting what you said, because you said a couple of things. One is the resistance we have to change, right? That we just want to hold to what is there, and we think that that will keep us safe and where we are. And sometimes surrender and let it go is seeing how everything falls into place, right? And in this world that is changing so fast and constantly, we tend to resist to the change, and instead of flowing and enjoying the process, we put a lot of obstacles ourselves. So we don't allow to grow. We don't allow to let it in. We don't allow. And that goes to another thing that you said, that in the divorce, you felt that you lost a lot of your identity. And the identity is not only in the marriage, or in even we take as part of our identity, where do I work? What do I do? No, I'm a photographer. Let's say it's not I take pictures or I take photos. I'm a photographer, a part of you, but you're not only a photographer, you're a thousand things more than being a photographer. Or um, I am in a workshop that I did in a company. It says, I bet everybody here are cousins, because everybody answer, or even brothers, because they answer. For example, hello, I'm Beatriz from Coca-Cola, or hello, I'm Beatriz from Intel, or hello. So our our last name, because becomes the name of the company. So we take it as a part of our identity. And even when we are married and we are in a family, we do that. We take the what we do as part of our identity. And when I also went through divorce, and I also lost a company, so the new identity is it's really who it's back to my core. And the question that I used to ask is, after the grieving and when I was going through the grief, was, who am I without my husband? Who am I without my company? Who am I without it? Because we came with nothing and we still were very valuable since we were kids. That we are putting layers and layers and layers, and we get to adulthood and we define ourselves. You can ask most of the people, uh, introduce yourself, and they will say what they do, know who they are. They won't say, I'm smart, I kind, I live through grace. No. Oh, I studied engineer. Yeah, I'm an engineer, I'm a photographer, I'm a coach. It's part of the I am. And that's, you said it so beautifully, and we get stuck so that it's so painful to take that out, that we have to grieve to become who we really are, to our essence, to our soul.
Yeah, and I think thank you for elaborating. It's so beautiful no matter how painful it is. And I would also invite everybody watching, no matter what pain you're going through or you're experiencing or you're fearing, to do your best to allow that pain to become your teacher, because it's the same like, I've also studied Rumi a lot. Probably most people know him, the old Sufi poet, and he talks a lot about it a lot, to celebrate even when you're dancing in your blood, and like he has great poems on that. But I can just see how, like you're saying, Beatrice, that life or God came to show me that, oh, I'm more than this, and now it's time to go beyond, even if the process can be very painful. It's also so beautiful, and I would not have been without it.
The uniqueness, no, that you spoke in the beginning, how unique we are, how are we, um, we are light to ourselves and we are light to others, and how we allowing ourselves in that vulnerability that you talk about, allowing ourselves, can we model, show, shine our true light. No, in my work, I tell the people that what I usually do is I guide them to turn on uh, the dimmer of the light that usually it's really, really, really low, because we don't feel enough, we're not strong enough, because we are not liked enough, pretty enough, thin enough, whatever, not enough. And we are enough and more than enough since we were born by divine right, by birthright, right? And by divine right. So, how do we come back to that sign? And I would like you to tell us how, what do you do with your work, with your message, to help people allow to be themselves again? How do you bring that inspiration that I'm sure you create because I know you. So
Yeah, thank you. First, I will add just a quick note to what we just had before. It goes also with several of your questions, that it's interesting, this belief that's so hardwired into most of us, that we're not enough. Because if you're not enough, you're also a more valuable customer, because then I will go and buy stuff, because there are all these promises that, oh, if I have this car, then people are gonna like me, and if I have this job, and if I have these glasses, or whatever, it can be whatever. But it's somebody who is totally grounded and satisfied with the mystery and their existence. They're a terrible customer, and that doesn't work well for the old society, right? So the more we can calm down our nervous system, the more we're just gonna be content. But yeah, back back to your question. So how I work with this, um, I think the what I learned even just in the last few years, it's actually most of all just by embodying it, and that the more I can embody trust in life, and be calm and present with people that I meet, that goes beyond any offerings that I have, and it also goes through everything that I do, and that is maybe the deepest way I could answer your question. But on a more tangible, in more tangible terms, then I have these two areas of my work, where one is doing the storytelling and helping to remove or unveil people and brands and companies through my visual work. Mm, and I really enjoy doing that to help connect people more to their essence, and also the essence of their brand. And then when I do the more therapeutic work, it's more about creating the space where something greater than me, where I can be like an instrument, and create a safe space. Often it's also with a group of my friends and colleagues, where could be doing a men's group or doing a retreat or working with plant medicine or in nature. Really, just everything we're talking about now, to take it from talk and bringing it into action. So really, just being a mirror, a loving mirror, that whatever someone comes with that they're afraid of or concerned about, or where they have some kind of block, it's our hearts, our intuition, and our bodies feel that energy. We can even I even just read the other day that we can feel in our body when somebody is looking at us. And this is something maybe everybody, you already knew that, oh, you can feel if somebody is looking at you. It's just so interesting how energy works, and how science is catching up with what ancient wisdom and spirituality has known. So I do the best I can do to calibrate my nervous system and my presence, so that when I'm with someone, I can just reflect back to them with my camera, or in an event or ceremony, I can reflect back to them what they maybe forgot.
Yeah, that's exactly that. That what we all have it. It's just a reminder. It's just the dimmer to go back, and you do it so nicely with your camera, your photography. I do it backwards. I use the photos to inspire people and to let them see how we don't have to be wrong or right. Each photo, each thing that you go through a photo is your own perspective, and one can see good, or another one can see bad, sadness or joy or whatever. It's their own perspective. And one of the things that I love about what you're doing is the storytelling, no? But the storytelling in a sense that is not only telling stories about yourself and about whatever, is paying attention to the story you're telling yourself. Like my chapter 11 of the book, of my book, right, is what's the story you're telling yourself? Because yes, you cannot change the past, whatever you did and you feel guilty or shame or whatever. You can flip it. You can tell yourself another story from another point of view, from another perspective. So it will really heal you. So you can tell your story about what do you see in that person? Tell me one thing good about that person, no? Just, even if it's your enemy, just one thing that you can tell me that it's good about that person, and you will really need to think and change completely the perspective of how you feel. It's not only how you see it, it's how you feel it. So what's the population you work with? Who
You
do
mean
you
what,
work with?
like my audience?
Yes.
It's mostly men that are going through some kind of transformation. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's one of the gifts that has come from all the transformation that life has been giving me, that even if I'm fairly young, I can give uh, a lot of perspectives, and just from going through a lot of quote unquote mistakes, or trial and error in my own life, I can also just reflect back to others that there's not really anything we cannot flip into something positive, right? And that is again back to what you're saying about the story.
Yeah. It's a you said before, and I really agree with you. People that, oh, I need a house to be happy. I need a car, this car to, so people will like me, and I will my feeding my ego, right? My ego, and not be getting, doing. So and acquiring, trying to become what they have in the pocket, let's say. And lately, I have had a couple of clients going to that point that have everything, that they have house and cars and properties and traveling, and feel so empty. So something is missing. That's the definition. Something is missing. Something is missing, that I'm not happy. I have all this. I have a beautiful family. I have a house. But something is missing. And that something is missing is the allowing yourself to be you, is going back to your essence, going back to your soul. So, what do you really like? What is Simon, to put a name on it, without all that, without the car, without the family, without the house, without the properties, without the name? You know, Simon Sinek says, has a nice story of him going to a hotel when he was going to give a conference invited by a company. And so they sent a limousine to the airport to pick him up and brought him to the hotel and opened the door and took his luggage and to his room and they brought him coffee in a ceramic mug, and everything first class, 5 star. And 3 months after, he went to the same hotel, but as Simon Sinek, not as the company that invited him. So there was no limousine on the airport. There was nothing, nobody opening the door. And he asked for coffee, and they brought the coffee in a styrofoam cup. So um, that's the essence. And he says, don't forget that when they open the door for you and send a limousine, they're sending a limousine to the role you're fulfilling, not to you. So you, even if you deserve to drink your coffee in a styrofoam cup, you are who you are, no? As like Bob Dylan says, all I can do is be me, whoever that is. Okay? And that's the brilliance, the uniqueness, whoever I am. So that's the missing, that's what I say, the missing of these people that have all material things in life and millions of dollars, but they are completely disconnected to themselves. And just being in nature and having 5 days, 6 days, whatever, a month, 2 months to connect to themselves, to go back and see how they wire that, right? How they wire the who am I without all that is so beautiful and so nice, the transformation that you can see, right?
Absolutely. And yeah, it's great that you bring that up because I see it a lot and as well. And there's nothing wrong with, material possessions or having an ambition. It's just, as I see it, if you make it the whole meaning of your life and your whole identity relies on all these external constructs, then you kind of miss the point. I mean, it's like who we are is so much deeper. And like you said, that we're brought into this world with nothing, and we're also going to leave it with. We can't bring any of that stuff really with us. Of course, you can create stability for your future generations, and that's beautiful. But we also have to get connected to the source within. That just brings so much more peace. Yeah, and I also know that from a lot of my teachers, right, who have been humbled by life in so many ways that you really like Eckhart Tolle, for example. Most people probably know him. He was homeless for several months, and then suddenly he just realized that, wow, okay, none of these things I have been chasing actually matters. And it doesn't, almost, if you look at the story of any great teacher, at least when it comes to consciousness, they have been through some kind of phoenix process like that. Yeah,
You have to surrender.
that's the thing.
Surrender to see, now what? Right? Now what's my, and that's where the strength come out. From the ashes, no, it comes, the fire comes from the ashes, from within. There is no fire outside. Yeah. The fire really is within. Yeah. It's true. It's a surrender to it's not giving up, huh? It's completely different. There is no confusion, not to confuse for the audience the word surrender to giving up. It doesn't mean to give up. Is surrender to all these external forces that are driving you to so many places away from yourself. And that's what uh, um, that emptiness that we were talking about, that is what gets us to be addicted to food, to drugs, to alcohol, to work, to whatever is outside, trying to fill that emptiness, that vacuum that is inside you, that if you allow yourself to pause and have a mentor, somebody to help you and give you your hand to guide you how to go and connect to your own light, you will shine again without all that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just so important also coming back to pausing, because we have we have that wisdom in ourselves. I mean, all the atoms and molecules in our body, they have literally been made from the stars. So when people say, "Ah, you're made of light and you come from the stars," and it sounds like some hippie, fluffy language, it's actually true, even in the physical, chemical sense. But if we get so caught up in the 3D world and wanting to, chase all these things only, then we forget what we came from, and then it's like then we you forget to look at the abundance of just some grass or leaves that are moving in the wind, and it's just that's where all the magic is. And I got so much from working with plant medicine as well in a therapeutic setting. It's not the only way to find that surrender and that connection, but to anyone listening, I would also recommend you explore that. It's a beautiful way to really just feel that connection to something greater.
Yeah, only breathing. No, we are all connected. That's another thing. Once you connect to yourself, truly, then you're able to connect to others in a magnificent way. Not only to other persons and to other human beings, but you can connect yourself to nature in a way that it's um, both ways, right? They give you oxygen, you give you CO2. Yeah. So it's that you breathe connection, right? And you expel connection too. So it's that interaction, that symbiosis, if we can call it like that, that really makes us appreciate and be joyful, no? As Esther Hicks says all the time, joy is the game. Joy is the key. That's what she says. Joy is the key. So we can enjoy even when we're sad. We can enjoy where we are and be grateful to what we are surroundings.
Exactly. And that's beautiful as well. It's another metaphor I bring up often that is very similar, is that again we have all this conditioning, maybe from many generations, that some emotions are not allowed, or they're not appreciated, or they're not welcome, because we have the idea, oh, these don't, feeling sad or upset or ashamed or whatever we feel, it's not bringing me forward. But it's a little bit the same, like having a piano and then saying, oh no, the black keys, I cannot touch the black keys because it's not ideal. But I mean, imagine if you only had one kind of music. If there was not sad music or if there was not angry music, it's the same. We need like our beautiful heart, our beautiful human body and human expression. We've been given all these gifts to feel and experience such a wide scope of emotions and experiences. And that again comes back to allowing ourselves to surrender to, wow, can I just sit with this anger or this ecstasy or this really just anything on that scale to practice to just hold it and feel it.
Yeah, allow yourself also what you deserve, because you deserve everything. How we limit ourselves or what we think we deserve. So this is not for me, that's for rich people. This is not for me, right? This is for the others. One of the beautiful things that to allow yourself is what we're doing here is the communication and the listening, no? Is how we can learn so many things we just allow ourselves to listen, even if our ideas that we are not don't agree or don't know is just with the curiosity to start exploring and seeing what it's out there. Allow ourselves to go back to our childhood and be as curious as a child and be everything as students, no, as our teachers, let's say just see everything as a student so you can learn, you can maybe you agree, maybe you don't agree, but at least to see another perspective.
Yeah,
I wanted
absolutely.
to
And
ask you, yeah, sorry.
no, just to add a little thing that I'm also really positively surprised from my own experience how helpful everybody, almost everybody, is. That if I'm fascinated by one of your achievements, and if I would just come to you, uh, and even if I didn't know you, and I would just come with that vulnerability and fascination, then I mean, chances are pretty high that you would meet me, in a supportive way. And I just can see in my own past, and also sometimes when I talk with other people, we are often very resistant to bring that vulnerability. But I can see that some of the most beautiful experiences that I've had, and also some of the things that have given me the most growth or inspiration, has been when I have had the courage to reach out to people and ask for what I want, and just be curious and be a student, because who doesn't also like to be the source of inspiration for someone else and to share our experience and wisdom.
Yeah, vulnerability is strength, it's not weakness as they have taught us.
Yeah.
Vulnerability and be able to ask for help. The worst thing they can say is no, and that's okay too. So it's it's uh, it's wonderful when we discover that being vulnerable is not being weak and we are not being judged like bad. We couldn't do it. We are losers because who's and I remember when I was a teenager, to be vulnerable, it was to be a loser, right? To ask for help is to be a loser. And the opposite is allow yourself to be a winner and to grow and to share. So, going back to teenagers, if you can come back to your teenager, your younger Simon, what can you whisper him to at that time to become what you are today?
Mhm.
What advice can you give him? Let's say,
Hmm.
I will reframe it. How will
I
you
get it.
would
Yeah.
wish to know at that age that will make you wiser that you have it today?
Yeah. That's beautiful. So if I met my teenage self now, I would really just tell him that I love him, uh, and that you know that it's okay to be confused, and that it's okay to be looking for answers, and really to just trust that voice within, and not have so much attention towards what everybody else is thinking or saying, and also to be a bit more stronger in the boundaries. It's all going back to a little bit. You can maybe hear that I've been healing a lot of this pleasing behavior. That it's,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody was treating me in a way that was not fair or nice, then to just be more firm and be like, hey, fuck off, or to be to find more strength in that authenticity, even if it triggered someone else, um, and to be more bold in that in that journey.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It's just love. I love yourself unconditionally, no matter
Yeah.
what. And uh, and what specific boundary will you set at that time that will really help you uh, save a lot of your hurts, a lot of your pain?
It
If you
would
could
it
set
would be
that boundary.
absolutely, and it's funny because it goes back to what we were just talking about before. It would really be to reach out and ask more for help. I think when I was, well, I know that when I was younger, often I felt invisible, or when something painful happened, I would turn it inside. Often had the tendency more to be sad than to be angry, and I've been working a lot with my anger as I became older, and I would really tell him to just stand up for himself, and if he wasn't able to do that, then to bring in someone else who could help stand up for what's right, because then he wouldn't have had to learn those lessons in a more painful way.
Beautiful, beautiful. Simon Sinek says, "Don't crying alone. There is no crying alone. There is no crying alone."
Good one, good one.
Beautiful, beautiful. And thank you, really, thank you very much, Simon, for your beautiful teachings. Really, I hope the audience and people that are listening to us can learn all the lessons that you have brought to us today. And meanwhile, for those that are listening till the next Allow Yourself podcast, be safe, be true, and allow yourself to be you. Thank you, Simon. Do you want to say, in one word, are you taking from this conversation?
Hmm. Humility. I feel very humble to be here and share my story, and feeling in wonderful company with you. So I hope anyone watching will take away just one thing, and maybe take your notebook, and if you take away one thing from this episode, then maybe write it down and put it on a post-it, and give yourself that gift. Thank you, Beatrice.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you very much, Simon. And be safe. Bye.